you all can hear me. So we'll be looking at how to write a script and advert script. Once you hear scripts, certain names come to your skit, certain names come to your mind. Sabinus, Mr. Macaroni. And then when it comes to adverts, for many people, detergent is still Omo. Okay, that's the power of adverts. So today we'll be looking at a guide to short form storytelling, comedy writing, and persuasive promotional scripts, from premise to production. What if I told you that the next viral skit, the next advert that makes millions, the next campaign that changes minds starts with just a few words on paper? Every trending skit to laugh at, every advert that convinces you to buy, every awareness video that moves you to act, they were all written first. Okay, the difference between random content and powerful content is not the camera, it's not the location, it's not the budget, it's the script. I repeat, it's the script. You already learned about script as a blueprint for production. Today you are not just learning how to write, but learning how to capture attention, control emotion, and influence decisions in under 60 seconds. Exactly, you heard me, 60 seconds. Welcome to Writing Skits and Advert Scripts. What is a skit, by the way? So we define a skit. It's a short, self-contained scripted performance, usually 30 seconds to 3 minutes, designed to deliver one clear idea with a fast setup, a conflict, and a strong ending, or what we may call a punchline or resolution. So a skit has key characteristics. It has a hook. It has to hook you early. The first 3 to 10 seconds are crucial. They have to hook the audience. It has to have a one main conflict. It has and a big escalation, strong ending, punchline, twist, or lesson. Okay, these are the characteristics of what? Of a skit. And for you to get a powerful skit, it needs to have these characteristics. So let's compare it to a full-length script. Skit has one main situation, one core idea, fast pacing, minimal characters, and locations. A full-length script, on the other hand, it has multiple scenes, deeper character arcs, more subplots, longer development time. So this is the we're comparing a skit to a full-length script, and you can see that a skit has distinct characters or characteristics or properties from a full-length script. Let's compare skits versus comedy sketches, reels. A skit is a short story scene. It can be comedy or it can be serious. Often message-driven or character-driven. A short story scene. While a comedy sketch, on the other hand, comedy is focused, is built around comedic pattern or game, it escalates to a blackout or punchline, a sharp end that leaves you laughing in that case. Then real shots, TikTok, these are different names for similar content under different platforms. So these are they have different platform formats. They can host skits, trends, commentary, or storytelling. On Instagram is Reels, YouTube calls them Shorts, and then you have TikTok. So it's format driven. Now, when it comes to duration expectations, it's important that you keep that you work with time. And then we have what is known as a quick hit. If you're working within between 30 to 60 seconds, the standard between 60 to 120 seconds. If you're going to go to 2 to 3 minutes, that's the full flavor. So let's look at each of them individually. For the quick hit, you have one premise, one escalation, and a sharp end, all within between 30 to 60 seconds. For the standard, you have 2 to 3 beats of escalation plus a clean ending. For the full flavor, you have more character depth, 3 to 5 beats, and clearer payoff. That brings us to the question of purpose. What's the purpose of skits? Why skits? Skits can be used for different purposes, including entertainment, where you have comedy, satire, exaggeration, relatable daily life humor, like landlord drama, POS wahala, customer care and the rest, family chaos. These are relatable everyday events, and that could be incorporated into skits for entertainment. Apart from entertainment, skits can equally be used for education. Moral lessons can be passed, like they say, it's a stronger way to pass moral lessons rather than just preaching. You could use skits to pass moral lessons. And then demonstrating procedures, whether it's safety procedures, you could equally use skits to do that. Explaining concepts visually through do's and don'ts. So that's what skits can do when it comes to education. You can equally use skits to create awareness on social issues, corruption, health, relationships, public enlightenment, and cultural commentary. And then you can use it for branding and influence. You have influencer skits, like the case of Sabinus. He's the brand on his own, and with his characteristic dressing and face, you can't miss it. Influencer skits, sponsored control, personality-driven series with consistent character identity. So that's for branding and influence. Now, you've noticed from our discussion that skits are quite fast-paced because of the duration. So we'll be looking at how to develop a story that is fast-paced. So we call it the fast story engine. This is like a model for developing such stories that require a very short duration. So you have to have a setup. You introduce the situation fast. There are certain words that are keywords here. You introduce the situation fast. Hook immediately. It's important. Okay, the first few seconds make all the difference. You need to hook the audience, and then once you've hooked them, You introduce the conflict. What's the problem? And then build the tension. Then you have the punchline, the twist or consequence, and it has to end sharply. No room for controversies. It has to end sharply. So every effective skit follows this three-part engine. The setup is fast, the conflict is immediate, and the ending pays off the tension. Never drag it out. You never drag out a skit. When once it starts dragging, then there's a high chance that you will lose your audience concentration. So let's look at setup. The first 10 seconds. The first 10 seconds, like I mentioned, that's where you hook the audience. So what's the goal here? You introduce the situation quickly, establish characters, setting, and tone within the first 5 to 10 seconds. So let's look at an example of a PHC and brought light, but the landlord now sells it in bundles. You can almost imagine, okay? Your mind will have started, imagining the situation already. Okay, what could arise from this? So this one line tells us the character, the setting, the conflict, and the comedic tone instantly. The next thing is the conflict and resolution. This should take like 10 to 60 seconds. So you introduce the problem early and build tension. Use misunderstanding, pressure, temptation, fear, jealousy, or even a deadline. Don't delay. Start the central conflict quickly. That's the key word. It has to start quickly. There's no time to waste. There's no time for bantering. People just talking without direction. The conflict has to come in immediately. Then the payoff or the punchline, the resolution, that's the final 5 to 15 seconds. So you pay off the tension with a twist, a reveal, consequence, or moral conclusion. That depends on what your goal is. And it can be visual or dialogue driven. End sharply, don't drag. End sharply, don't drag. You don't want to give room for your audience to wake up, okay? To wake up from your spell. You need to do it and do it not just quickly but well as well. Okay? So the pro skit formula. So here's a formula that you can use to develop skits as a pro. So it's a hidden structure behind most viral skits. So if you master these 4 elements, you automatically rise to the level of a pro. Well, the problem is, the more you know these things, if you used to enjoy skits, that's the downside. If you used to enjoy skits, you might begin to see some of this formula there, and that may stand in the way of your enjoyment. But if you don't mind, and you want to be a pro skit maker, well, let's dive in, like ChatGPT say. Okay, so the first one is the premise. We have 4 elements: the premise, the game pattern, escalation, and what? The ending. The premise. So let's start with the premise. It has to be explainable in one sentence. It has to be in one sentence. You work on it till you can get it in one sentence, because that's a measure of a clarity of purpose, of goal, of your mind, of what you have in mind. What do you want to say, really? What exactly is this all about? It has to come within one sentence. Then you have the game or pattern. Okay? Every game has its own pattern, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, or hockey. There's a pattern. Okay? So the same way skits have their game pattern. There has to be a repeating idea that goes, or in intensity. over time. Okay, so that's the game pattern. Concentrate on an idea and then you keep developing it till and that brings us to the escalation. You escalate things. Each bit more intense than the last. Okay, whatever the audience felt at the first bit, okay, must be overshadowed by the next event. Okay, till it climaxes, and then the ending, the blackout, twist, or consequence. So these are the 4 elements that you need to master so to be a pro skit maker. So let's look at premise. So premise plus the game or the pattern. So that's the skit engine, the core, the heart of your skit. So let's look at the premise example. And the inspiring expression here is what if. The what if situation, simple and clear. What if? What if? What if I was maybe the president of America, something like that. So an example, the landlord now does subscription plan for rent. It's quite absurd, is it not? So that's the what if situation, and that's what gives us the premise. Now the game pattern, the repeating funny pattern. You don't need to keep inventing new ideas. You heighten the same idea. You already have the premise, so you now dig into the premise to flesh it out. Okay, what more absurd things? How more absurd can this get? All right. So how far can we go into this rabbit hole that we've discovered? So an example in action. Every basic need. So the landlord now decides he wants to do subscription plan for rent, and then we now break it down. Okay, he has a plan for water, light, gate access, has a ridiculous subscription tier. The pattern repeats and grows more absurd with each bit. Okay, now the rule is 1 skit, 1 game. All right, 1 skit, 1 game. We are on the landlord and his subscription plan, and you don't change it. Keep building on it so that you can generate enough emotional impact around it and not have to dissipate your energy and story trying to and at the end of the day you may not be able to wrap it up properly and in time. So the next one is the escalation, the beat ladder. Each beat must be more intense than the last. Bigger stakes, more ridiculous logic, fewer options. Okay? If the character was crying initially, then by the next beat he should be hitting his head on the wall or something like that. But it has to be, it really has to, you have to up the game. So you have the beat one, still our landlord example. Basic plan. Gate opens only 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can see the conflict already building. Okay? Now, that's not enough. B2, you have the silver plan. Toilet flush only 10 times daily. Okay? If you have like a large family, it's a problem. Gold plan. Landlord gives you priority PHCN. That's light. And then you have the platinum. Landlord becomes your Wi-Fi password. That's quite ridiculous. Okay, but you have to. It's a bit ladder. It has to. Each subsequent bit has to upend the previous one. Okay. All right. Then the next thing is timing and pacing rules. Timing and pacing rules. The first 0 to 5 seconds is the hook. You make sure you grab attention immediately. Okay, it's very important you grab attention immediately because of the plethora of available content out there. people don't have that patience anymore. You know, either they are hooked or they scroll. Now, the next 5 to 15 seconds, the conflict must start, and then you introduce the problem. The next 15 to 60 seconds, 2 to 3 escalations, heighten the pattern, and then now the last 5 to 10 seconds, you resolve it, the punchline, the lesson, or the twist, and it has to end sharply. Now let's look at pacing principles. Economy of dialogue. You have to learn to say less, mean more. No unnecessary exposition. Okay? You have to be a wordsmith. Cut out any word that does not charge up the skit or help to advance the plot. Okay? And then apart from the economy of dialogue, you have visual humor timing. Reactions are jokes. Expression-driven acting sells the comedy. Okay, you have to use your visuals. There are certain things that are better seen than said. So you have to learn how to express your ideas through visual expressions. And then you have strategic pauses, okay, where you pause to generate tension so that the import of the situation can sink, and you use silence deliberately. Escalation rhythm. Beat 1 has to, beat 2 has to top beat 1, and then beat 3 has to top beat 2. Each moment must stop the last. I guess I'm using silence to modulate our lesson. It's all part of it. Okay, so let's look at skits for social media platforms. We're looking at different platforms, so it's the platform strategy. On Instagram, if you're on different platforms, the strategy is quite different because of the audience in these platforms. On Instagram Reel, vertical framing, hook in first 3 seconds, loop friendly ending, and where it can restart the ending so that it can always restart. It has a way of keeping the audience coming back. On TikTok, you have to understand trend integration because of their algorithms, sound format, so that the algorithm can pick up your content and place it properly. Relatable hooks, quick expressive acting. Okay, these are all ways to get attention on these platforms. Then for the YouTube shorts, clear title relevance. Yeah, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a YouTube consumer, and I'm always attracted by title. I look at the title first. I read it like, okay, what could it be? I usually read the title before I even click. Okay, so clear title, it is quite relevant. Quick payoff. Yeah, the first few seconds on YouTube, I'm guilty of that. My hand is always ready to scroll, So if there's no quick payoff, I'm gone. All right, so that's YouTube Shorts for you. Retention, focused pacing throughout. Okay, now you have Facebook. On Facebook, you have a broader demographic tone, different populations, okay, that you can have access to. So you have to use shareable themes that they can share, like family, relationships, daily struggles, clearer message, and then fewer inside jokes that are limited to particular cultures or localities, okay? You have to limit them so that your skit can travel far and wide. Okay, let's look at character development in short form. Even in 60 seconds, character must be instantly what? Clear. The character must be clear. It has to have, the character has to have strong traits, introduced instantly, no time to build slowly. Okay, maybe unlike in feature-length movies where you might have time to build slowly. In this case, the character has to come in fully prepared. Now you have to have a clear motivation. The audience must know what the character wants immediately. Archetypes could help out: strict mother, stubborn friend, dramatic boss, wise neighbor. These are archetypes that you can employ that people can easily identify with. And then you have signature. Each character, a phrase, gesture, attitude, or obsession for consistency. There's always need for consistency. Okay, whether it's Sabinu's face or I want problems, always, such phrases could are important for consistency. Okay. So that's about character development in short form. Because even in short forms, it's important. The character is important, okay, for your audience to be able to empathize with and identify with your work. Let's look at dialogue in skits. Rules for skit dialogue. Okay, you have such a short time that your dialogue, you have to really make sure that your dialogue fits into not just the time, but is able to communicate effectively what your goal is. So rules for skit dialogue: short sentences, punchy lines, avoid heavy exposition, not too much talk, use subtext. I'm fine when they are not, because that's how human beings, that's how humans communicate. Oftentimes they say the scene is not about what it appears to be about. In script writing, the scene is never about what it's about. So usually there's the subtext where there's a meaning behind words. So you learn to use subtext as well to enrich your dialogue. You can use local language where relevant, like Pidgin, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa for authenticity, especially when you want to, okay, maybe I might say a cuss word or something. I did my service in Delta with Yoruba people, and I still remember Bakara. They say it's a crocodile because somebody used to use it to cuss people, that kind of stuff. So I still remember it. So you use local language, but where relevant, make sure it fits in appropriately and doesn't confuse your audience. Now, the golden rule: if a line can be shown, don't say it. Visual storytelling is more powerful than spoken explanation. Trust your actors and your camera. Okay? So if you can show it, there's no point saying it. Saying I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry. We should see you breaking things. You understand? That's what angry people do. We should see you probably smashing your hand on the table, hitting the table, or just destroying things, or showing that you're angry, not just saying I'm angry. All right. Now you have visual economy. Make it easy to shoot. Okay, that's a business actually, because skit making, like every other thing, is equally a business, and money is involved. So you have to consider the economy of the production. So your skit should be easy to shoot. You have to inculcate it in your design. Fewer locations, limit to 1 to 2 settings. More locations equals more complexity and cost. So you need to be able to promote simplicity and reduce cost in your for the production team by inculcating that in your design of the skit. We have minimal props. You don't have to write a skit that we have to go to the moon to get like a setting or something. So you use only what serves the story. Clutter distracts from performance. Okay. Make sure you're able to strip down to the barest minimum the things that are really, really necessary for the performance. Anything that is superfluous, just put it aside. Expression-driven acting. Reactions sell jokes. Okay, strong facial expressions tell the story without words. Clear blocking, know who stands where and why. Strong visuals tell the story without explaining. It's important, we know how to use visuals, our expressions. Okay, that saves us tons of words in dialogue. Okay, and that's what visual economy is about. So you make it easy to shoot. Don't make it difficult for yourself or your partners. Okay. So common mistakes in skit writing. You have structural mistakes, no clear conflict, weak punchline, no payoff. Okay, these are mistakes you should avoid. Okay, by all means. Slow beginning, late hook. These are like structural mistakes. Like when you're building a house, and once it has a structural mistake, it's coming down. That you can't repair it with dialogue, with acting. You can't. You need to get the structure right. So when you don't have a clear conflict, you have a weak punchline or no payoff at all, a slow beginning and a late hook. These are structural mistakes that should be avoided at all costs. And then we have creative mistakes. Okay, these are ones that that are built in the process. Creative mistakes, too much dialogue. Africans, we like talking, okay? But remember that when you have a skit, the characters are not real people, okay? They are not real people. And even they represent an idea, a concept, and everything has to be standardized. Too much dialogue is not necessary. You find just the right dialogue to pass your message across. Forced humor. You can even notice that when your people are trying to be funny, you don't try to be funny. You build comedy into this. It's a structure that gives provides the comedy. You don't try to be funny. If you try to force it, that's where it loses it. In fact, it's even the seriousness, so most of the time that makes the comedy funny. Copying trends without originality. Of course, when this guy is like Sabinus, you've lost it, right? Or he's trying to be like Sabinus. Oh, no. All right. So you have to vie for originality. Too many characters or locations for short duration. It can be quite confusing. You're wondering what's going on here. Okay. So you limit your characters. Okay, so comedy tools. What makes a skit funny? So contrast serious behavior in a silly situation, for instance, okay, or silly behavior in a serious situation. So contrast can help make things make the skit funny. Okay, like Sabinus that wants to act like a sharp guy when he's not. All right, so and he's always in a situation where he needs to be witty, and then we know how it goes. So, and then secondly, specificity. Be specific. Specific details are funnier than when you have general information. Okay. All right. Okay. Strong endings. So you don't fade out. All right. You don't fade out. You don't slowly, for a skit, you don't slowly end. It has to be abrupt. It has to be sharp. So you can use several strong endings. Blackout, you could use reversal, consequences, or maybe you could use tag. So for the blackout, it's a quick hard cut at the funniest moment. So it leaves the audience wanting more. Like they say, you leave when the ovation is what? Highest. Now, reversal, power flips. The underdog wins, the villain loses, the situation turns. You know, what you don't expect to happen. That's a reversal. Okay, and then it has a way of it's a strong ending. It has a way of affecting people emotionally and at least eliciting probably laughter or the response that you require. Consequences. The absurdity bites back. The character faces the result of their actions. Okay, it's called poetic justice. You know, human beings secretly, we want the bad guys, you know, to suffer, you know, that sort of thing. So, you know, when he follows that trend, people are like, of course, you know, like, oh yeah. You know, he gets the emotional response that is required. Then you have the tag. One last short joke after the main ending, a bonus punchline. Okay, if you feel you have the room to like leave the audience, you know, they've already laughing, all right, and but you want them to even sprawl on the floor and like, you know, lose it. You now just put in a tag and finish them off. So these are strong endings you could employ. Okay, so the next thing we'll look at is the blueprint, the skit blueprint or template. Everything that is made has what? A template. You don't just go to, okay, I want to erect a building and then you just start building. You need to have what? A template. And that's the beauty of most things that are being done. But most people just jump into things without trying to understand the blueprint or template. So for us that are aspiring skit makers, it's good we understand the blueprint. We've mentioned bits and pieces of it already, but let's just recap at this point. We have the title plus premise plus characters plus where plus game pattern. So you have to define your skit's foundation before writing a single line of dialogue. You have to determine the title. What's the title of my skit? What's the premise? What's it about? Now, who are the characters? Where is it happening? The setting, the location, and then how am I going to escalate the game plan? Okay, so so you have the bit 1, bit 2, bit 3. You can even add bit 4, but it's optional. And I guess there's a concept of threes. You know, people remember things maybe in threes. All right, or maybe fours, something like that. Beyond that, it's a problem. If you ask people for their phone numbers, they might go 0803. That's 4 digits. Okay, and beyond that, it becomes a problem. So you don't overfeed your audience. Maybe bit 1, bit 2, bit 3, and if necessary, a bit 4. So you establish the normal plus first weird thing. Okay, so while they're still reeling from that and wondering what, and then the same weird thing, but this time, you know, is bigger. Okay, and then even bigger, then plus consequences, and then maximum absurdity. So there's a template there's a pattern to this. Okay, So you make sure that, like we pointed out earlier on, bit 2 has to top bit 1, bit 3 has to top bit 2, and that's how it goes. Then you have the ending and the plus tag. The tag, like I said, is optional. So you have a blackout, like you just cut it at the height of it, okay? Leaving the audience just there, okay? Or you have a reversal where you overturn their expectations, or you bring in a consequence that fits their moral superiority, okay? Now you have the optional tag, one last punch after the main ending. So that's the blueprint, the skit template. Okay, let's look at an example skit, Customer Care Pro Max. This is the premise and game. Customer care agent speaks like a motivational speaker while refusing to solve problems. Every complaint receives inspirational advice instead of help. This reminds me of my encounter with an AI customer care on one app I was using for a bank. At the end of the day, I had to call the bank and like, see, I need to speak to a human being. All right. So now in this case, you have the customer service guy. You have the bits. Someone says, okay, the customer is like, your data finished. Okay. Okay, that's the customer service. Your data finished. Data is a mindset. Uh-oh. All right. My money disappeared. Loss is a lesson. What? You people cheated me. Choose peace. Recharge again. Okay. Agents start selling a course. How to accept network issues. So you go motivate me enter poverty. So that's the blackout. So this is like an example what skit. Okay, showing you the premise and the game as it escalates, and then the sharp ending. Okay, this is another example. Okay, or sample. Subscription landlord, the one we mentioned earlier on. So you have the scene breakdown. Opening exchange. Tenant asks why the gate isn't opening. Landlord reveals. Gate is now subscription based. Basic plan opens 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tenant returns at 9 p.m. from work. That's silver plan territory. Okay. Now, water is weekend bundle. Toilet is pay as you flush. 10 flushes free. That's interesting. Then 50 naira per flush. Landlord, for maintenance of your destiny. That's what the landlord terms it. Now, that's the escalation. Okay. We see this subscription as it gets even weirder, more weird over time. And then you have the blackout. That's the ending. Tenant. Okay, how much to subscribe for common sense? Landlord, serious, quite seriously. That one is not available on this plan. Probably looking over his plan sheet, okay, and says it's not available on this plan, and is the seriousness of the landlord, that would really bring out the laugh. So that's where you have the blackout. So this is a sample script. You have the opening exchange, the escalation, and then the blackout. Okay, so for your practice, you write 10 premises from real life. Maybe landlord, boss, POS, aunties. There's so much, there are ideas that you can get from real life to write 10 premises for a skit. Now, pick the best one and define the game pattern. What repeats? What grows? One skit equals one game. Okay, you don't try to kill two birds with one stone. You have to keep it one, then you keep fleshing it out till you have the audience probably reeling on the floor or responding in whatever way you desire. Write 3 beats that heighten. Each beat must stop the last in stakes or absurdity. We've already mentioned that. Now add a clean ending and read aloud. Now you have to now, you read it to yourself, okay? It's important, because as you read it, you begin to see, oh, there are things that might not make sense. And you shouldn't be timid at all. You should cut anything that doesn't serve the premise or game. If it doesn't escalate or pay off, remove it. No matter how you like it, no matter how it makes you, like how emotionally attached to it. If it doesn't advance the premise or game, please just cut it off. So that's your practice plan. Okay, let's look at a quick checklist before you shoot. Okay, before you shoot your skit. So the first one sentence premise. Can you explain the skit in one sentence? So if you can't explain it in one sentence, okay, it might be a complex sentence anyway, but you have to explain it in one sentence. One funny pattern. That's the second one. Is there only one main repeating game? So if you have if you see that you have more than one repeating game, then you know you have to rework it. Escalating beats. Does each beat top the previous one? Does it top the previous one? If it doesn't, of course, you have to do some reworking as well. All right. Then you have the sharp ending. Does it end clearly? No dragging, no room for the spell to break. Okay. It has to end clearly and sharply. Okay. So by the time you go through this checklist, okay, and it is good enough, then you can shoot. But if it's not, don't be shy. Go back to the drawing table, okay? Most people don't understand that behind the scenes, entertainment is work. All right, so we're done with skits. And we'll look at adverts and promotional scripts. Okay, if detergent is still Omo to you, all right, and diaper is still Pampers, you should understand what we are talking about. And milk is still Peak, okay? Now you understand the power of what? Advert. Okay, and then somebody will say, no, not the other, not the, I don't want this other Coke. Give me the other Coke, okay? You understand the power of what? Adverts. So writing adverts and promotional scripts. That's part 2 of our study. So we'll look at a complete professional guide from concept to production ready script. Master persuasion. These are the things you master: how to persuade, how to structure, and platform specific writing for every format. What is an advert script, by the way? An advert script is a short, persuasive written plan designed to promote a product, service, idea, event, or brand using structured storytelling and clear calls to action. So it is written to capture attention, create desire, build trust, and drive action. Okay? So what are the characteristics of effective short form adverts? Immediate hook. It has to grab attention in the first 1 to 3 seconds. All right? If you remember the annoying ads that pop up on maybe on YouTube or some other platform, okay, it has to be whatever if impact it has to have has to be very fast. It has just a short window to do that. So within 1 to 3 seconds, it has to grab your attention. And because of the shortness of time, it has to have one main message. focus on a single clear value proposition. It has to be a single clear value proposition. Then it has to have an emotional appeal. Human beings are emotional beings, all right? Without you appealing to your emotions, okay, without it generating emotions in you, you might not be able to identify with it. Okay, so you have the emotional appeal, strong emotional or logical pull on the audience. And then it has to have a clear CTA, call to action, with tight timing and rhythm. Buy now, subscribe now. You know, it has to have a clear call to what? Action. Duration expectations for adverts. You have 15 seconds, it could be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, all right? So for the 15 seconds ad, you need one hook, one key benefit, one proof, and then one CTA or call to action. If you have 30 seconds to sell to the audience or to convince them to buy your product or service, then you have a hook, you have the problem or desire, then you have to have like 2-3 benefits, a proof, and then a call toward action. If you have 60 seconds to do the same, you have you might have time for a mini story. You build up emotionally, and then you have the offer, the proof, and then you have the objection handling, because of course it's normal when someone wants to sell stuff to you, skepticism would always spring up in your mind. So the proactive advertiser or script writer should equally envisage that and handle it by structuring it into the advert. And then you have a strong call to action. So what are the purposes or the purpose of adverts? All right. You could want to sell something. So direct response sales. So your goal is make someone buy, register, click, or call today. All right. Not tomorrow, today. Okay. Not even in the evening, now. You want them to call now, today, like yesterday. All right. So that's a direct response. You could use it for sales. You could equally want to use it to create awareness. So what's your goal? Make people remember your brand long term. Okay? They remember your brand long term. You want to create awareness. Now, education, public service. That's another purpose of adverts. You want to change behavior, maybe how people live, their hygiene, health, safety, civic awareness. You could use advert to do that. Then branding and influence. So you build authority as expert in the field, as the best in the field, and your personality, you could build a brand around the personality, and then you could equally develop long-term trust. All these are can be done or achieved through adverts. So let's look at the 3 persuasion models. All right, we have the 3 persuasion models that, even if you're not doing adverts, human beings, we're always negotiating one thing or the other. And if you can learn this model, it might help you to persuade people and get the things you need in life. So let's look at the 3 persuasion models that are employed in advertisement. So we have the AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. Attention, interest, desire, and action. So it's classic and powerful. It grabs attention. It will introduce the offer. It builds desire and calls to what? Action. So you have the other one, the PAS or PAS, problem, agitate, solution. Problem, agitate, solution. PAS. Okay, so here you're trying to appeal to the emotions. It's emotional persuasion. So you identify the pain, intensify the consequences, and then you present the solution. Okay, that's how this one works. Then you have the FAB, features, advantages, benefits. FAB, FAB, features, advantages, benefits. So this is product focused. Okay, you want to sell a product. So you have like a 4K camera. What's the advantage? All right, it's 4K camera. What's the advantage? Ultra clear what? Resolution. And what are the benefits? Cinematic what? Videos. So for products, you could use the FAB model to sell that. So these are the three models: AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. So you catch his attention, feed his interest, and then wake up desire in him, and then get him to do what you want or what he needs. All right, or what he needs to do, as the case may be. The PAS, problem, agitate, solution. The FAB, features, advantages, and what? Benefits. So the AIDA, the classic model. So you grab the attention with bold hook, question, or shocking visual. Okay, questions are a way, questions can be used to stir curiosity, because that's what you want, for a hook. You could use a shocking visual, the person is wondering what's going on, and then you grab their attention. And then the second one is interest. Now you now reel them in. Okay, once you've grabbed their attention, then you have to keep their attention, and that's where the interest comes in. So you introduce the offer, why it matters to the audience, and then you build emotional or logical desire for the product or outcome. Once they see why it matters to them, then you work on their desire. And then once you achieve that, the next thing is what? Action. Tell them exactly what to do. Okay, don't prevaricate and keep them wondering. You have to be clear. Click now, not like it's quite interesting, but it's all part of advertisement. So register, click, call, buy. That's a clear call to what? Action. So the PAS, emotional persuasion, this is usually for emotional what? Persuasion. It appeals to your emotions. So there's a problem, you agitate it, and then you prefer the what? The solution that you have. So you identify the pain, intensify the consequences. Now present your solution as the relief. Okay, so it's best for health, financial services, skill training, business offers. Okay, so we see the guy is suffering from fever, and then we know that fever kills maybe every 5 minutes a child dies of malaria and all that, and then your drug is the solution, and he takes it and he's up and doing, and he's even in a ring fighting like 10 minutes later. Okay. All right, so here you identify the problem or pain, intensify the consequences, present your solution as relief. Now the FAB, the feature, this is product based, like we said. You present the feature, the advantage, and the benefit clearly. Okay, if you want to sell a device, a software, or a service, this will come in handy. Let's look at an advert script structure, a video version. Every second counts in a video advert. This 5-part structure ensures maximum persuasion within the tightest possible time frame. Okay, the structure is designed in such a way to ensure maximum persuasion, because really you want the your audience to do what? To take an action, and they must be persuaded. You can't force them into taking the action. They must be persuaded from your advert to take the action. So this structure will help us achieve maximum persuasion. The hook, pattern interrupt. So the first 0 to 3 seconds determine whether your audience stays or scrolls. Use one of these proven what? Hooks. A question. Want to write skits, films, and ads that people actually watch? Who doesn't want to do that? I want to do that. Okay, so you hit me with this question, and my brain might just stop, because I'll be looking for it. Now, before I breathe, okay, or exhale, you have to catch me with a bold statement. Stop scrolling, my goodness. If you want to learn how to write scripts that actually work. I think I'll stop scrolling because I want to do that. Okay, so you have a bold statement. Then, confidence matters. All right. Then you have a relatable frustration. Ever written a skit and it felt flat? No punchline, no tension, no structure. Of course, I'll be scratching my head. It's, and I'm like, of course, it's like you're reading my letter or something. All right. So it's relatable. It's a frustration. If you're a writer, you know that. Okay. That sometimes, most times you write and it falls flat. And if there's a way to, get you going, yeah, it's important. So that's the relatable frustration. Okay, so let's look at timing and pacing in adverts. Timing and pacing in adverts. No wasted words. That's the thing about advert, because you have such short time to persuade your audience. You don't waste words. Okay, short sentences, every word must sell or support the message. Okay, then visual support. Spoken lines should be reinforced by what the viewer sees on screen. Okay, it helps to reinforce it. Okay, what he hears, what he sees, the brain has like so many inputs to its register concerning the event. So it becomes easy to impress it. Strategic pauses. Use silence for what? Emphasis. Pause before the key benefit or call to action. Okay, it's quite strategic. All right, because when you pause, you catch at you kind of wake up attention in your audience. Okay, you play around with their attention, and they're like, "What's going on?" Then you now are able to make your call to action. So end while attention is high. Don't let the energy drop. The call to action should land at peak engagement when the mind is equally accessible, because when you're emotionally high, your mind is equally what? Accessible. Okay, you're able to associate the message with how you feel. So the golden rule is, if a line doesn't sell or support the message, please remove it. No matter how you like the line, no matter how it makes you feel, if it doesn't fit in, cut it off. All right. So platform specific ad writing. So we look at different platforms that you want to write ads for and their nuances. Okay. So let's look at Instagram Reels or TikTok. Okay. So you hook in first 2 seconds. Subtitles are required. Trend integration, okay, because of their algorithms, and then loop friendly ending. to ensure that your audience keep coming back, okay, and then that they keep coming back. They identify with your ad, and they can always pick up from the last time. Then on YouTube, you have to mention your offer early. All right. Maintain retention word pacing. Avoid slow build up. Like I said, I watch videos on YouTube, and my hand is always eager to scroll. I mean, so you have to avoid slow build up. Whatever it is, you hit them with it at as early as possible. Okay. Then for radio, use vivid sound imagery. Repeat call to action twice. Clear voice tone and rhythm. That's for radio. Then on Facebook, you have a broader tone because of the demographics. So, but you should have a clear message that is shareable. Most people on Facebook like things about family, relationships, daily struggles. I always see them, they're always, sharing. So it should be shareable. It has to have a clear message. Let's look at character and story in adverts. Even in 30 seconds, character must be clear. Conflict must be obvious, and transformation must be visible. Because remember, your audience identify with the character. Okay, so the character must be clear. They must know who this character is. Okay, and then because that will help them identify with what conflict he's having. Because if your character is a millionaire and then he has to pay a bill of 1 million naira, it doesn't mean anything. Okay, but if your character is a pauper that can't even afford to feed himself, and then he needs a bill of maybe 1 million to do surgery, I mean, it becomes a problem. All right, and then the transformation, how did it go down, must be visible at the end. So now the normal life, this is the character and story in adverts. Okay, so you start from a normal life, relatable starting point. The audience recognizes the situation or what is going on. It has to be a normal life, something that they can relate with. Then the problem, a clear pain point or unmet desire emerges, disrupting the normalcy, of course. And then the product, the solution appears. Your offer enters the story. For instance, if the problem is like, children getting dirty, right? And maybe wearing white and getting dirty at school. And then it's a problem for the mother. How do you deal with this? So Omo now shows up, okay? And then your offer enters the story, and then you have the improved life. It washes brighter and it shows. That was their their ad in those days. So you have two students, two mothers with their kids, and then you have both of them are wearing white, but one white is whiter than the other, the Omo white, And then I remember in school those days we used to like go, is your Omo super blue Omo white or the others, something like that. So that's the thing. The transformation has to be visible, because the audience want result. Nobody wants to spend his money for nothing. You want to spend your money for value, so you have to make them see value in what you're offering. So let's look at dialogue in adverts. So rules, it has to be short and direct. Okay, and it has to be persuasive and emotion driven. It has to affect people emotionally. You have to avoid heavy exposition. Heavy exposition, no time for long talk, long explanations. There's no time for that. It has to be short, direct, and persuasive. It has to affect people emotionally. Okay, and because when you start when it starts dragging and have a heavy exposition, the chances of having that emotional jab that you need may not be there. It will reduce your chances. So you use questions, commands, because questions, these raise curiosity, right? If you ask a question, the mind is already spinning. And then commands, like it catches attention. And then the benefit focused lines, make sure you point the audience to the benefits of what you are offering. So you have the visual economy, minimal locations. Okay, there shouldn't be too many locations, moving from room to room, no. That's a distraction. Clear framing. Okay, no more clutter. Okay, maybe taking the audience's eyes away from the major focus. Strong expressions. Okay, if you're angry, we need to see it. Okay, we can't be guessing whether you're angry or not. Or if you're happy, like hap for happiness. If you're drinking hap, you have to be what? Happy. That's the way it works. All right. So show product in action. You have to show it in what? Action. All right. You have to, like the Omo I told you, you have the Omo white, and the Omo washes brighter and it shows. You have to show it. You have the Omo white. I don't know whether it's China white or what, but it's whiter than the rest. Demonstrate benefit visually. They have to see it. Okay. Like they say, a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. So that's dialogue in adverts. Let's look at legal and policy considerations. This is very important because if you're venturing into the world of business, you have to be cognizant of the rules and regulations, okay, that guide the play. So you have to avoid this. Avoid these false or misleading claims. Your drug is cures everything. I mean, okay, please. Okay, your product, you don't have to make false claims. Hidden conditions. If there are conditions, you have to make plain the conditions surrounding your offer. Not like, okay, it's free, and then people come in and then you grab them and start milking them. Okay, it will damage your reputation. Offensive or discriminatory message. You have to avoid that. Unrealistic promises. Okay, like they say, you promise less and do what? Offer more. Don't promise more and what? Offer less. So you have to be careful with that. Asserting personal attributes about viewers. Okay, don't get personal about it. All right. Now be clear about pricing. Your price shouldn't be what? It shouldn't be confusing. You have to be clear about the dates, issue of dates, terms and what? Conditions, and then sponsorship disclosure. So let's look at the ad writing workflow. So first of all, you have to define your audience. Who are you selling to? Okay, Indomie knows they are not selling to children, even though children eat it more. They know they are selling to their mother. So it's Mama Do Good. Do you understand? So you have to define your what? Audience. Diapers, Pampers is not selling it to the baby. Okay, the baby uses it. You're selling it to the mother. Okay, you're selling it to the what? To the family. All right, even the father, because he has to do sometimes he has to branch to buy this thing. So he has to know which one they use. Now you have to clarify the what? Promise. What is it supposed to what? Do? All right. So you choose your framework carefully. Which framework are you going to use? Is it the FAB or the PASS? Okay. You have to choose your framework and then write and do what? And refine. Write and do what? Refine. In fact, like they say, rewriting is through writing. And Ernest Hemingway says that the first draft of everything is what? Is shit, Sorry for the word, but, I wanted to drive this home. You don't be in a hurry. The more you work on it, the more you refine it, the more likely you're going to get something that would resound with your audience and get the money in your pocket. I guess that's what we're looking for. All right, so so you follow this workflow for every advert you write, starting with audience and promise before touching the script. Is what separates professional ad writers from amateurs. You follow the framework. Okay, you have a workflow. All right, amateurs just jump in and then they start doing things without realizing that everything is step by step. All right, the next thing we'll look at is research before you write. So you need to do research before you add so the ad brief. You have to research who are your audience. All right. So who exactly, their age, location, income, mindset, what do they fear? What do they want? Okay. Because people's fears and hopes, play a great role in shaping their lives. So you need to find out these things. What do they want? What do they fear? So that you can structure your ad to relieve their fears or maybe get them what they want. So what's the offer? What's the promise in one sentence? What's included? Price, dates, bonus. So you have to be clear about your offer. Then you have your selling point or selling propositions, your unique selling propositions, the USP. Why you, not others? Why should I buy pig milk and not cowbell, for instance? Okay, why you, not others? So that your unique selling point has to be clear. What makes this offer uniquely valuable? All right. So proof and objections, testimonials, numbers, demos, address, too expensive, no time, does it work? So these are the objections. So the proof, like they say, is in the eating, right, of the pudding, right? Okay. So now the testimonials are proof of what you offer, what you claim to offer, that it actually works. So you might have numbers, how many people are using it or have used it, and then you have demos to show that this is actually real, and then your address, so that we know we're not dealing with a phantom. All right, so a phantom company of sorts. So somebody is worrying, is it too expensive, no time, does it work? So you have to justify why your product is expensive, if it's so, and then the person doesn't have a time for your program. You have to feed that into your advert, making provisions for some of these objections. So you research before you write, so that you flesh out your idea properly, and so that you can be able to achieve what you set out to. Now let's look at the ad script spine. The ad script spine. So use this production ready structure for every video advert. So you start with the pattern interrupt, visual plus hook line, 0 to 2 seconds. Then the problem or desire, why should I care, 2 to 6 seconds. Then you have your offer plus biggest benefit, what you get. Then 12 to 20 seconds, proof, credibility, why believe you. Then the last 3 seconds, call to action. It has to be clear, easy, and unmissable. They can't miss it. They can't miss because that's the goal of your ad. You want them to act. So it has to be clear. So this is the ad script spine. In trying to develop your own video ad, you need this spine. You have to check it out, like from 0 to 2 seconds, this is what I need to achieve. 2 to 6 seconds, this is what I need to achieve, the problem or desire, and then make sure it fits into this spine. Let's look at common mistakes in ad script writing. These are common mistakes in ad script writing. Okay, you can see repeating words like weak hook. Okay, it fails to stop the scroll. All right, once it's the hook is weak, people just they'll just scroll and move on. So no clear call to action. What are we supposed to do at the end of the ad? What's the audience supposed to do? If it's not there, then it's clearly a mistake. Overcomplicated message. Okay, if the message is overcomplicated and like they say, you have to make it idiot proof so that even an idiot can understand it. So if it's overcomplicated, it limits your audience. All right, slow opening. Nobody has time for this. Like I said, these days of social media and everybody's on the move, you can't afford a slow opening. Okay, where people have to just put up with things that will not catch their attention. They are gone. All right, you lose them. No, so slow opening is a no-no. Now, when it comes to content mistakes, too many benefits, it causes confusion. So what exactly does this product do? What exactly is this service about? Okay, you have to narrow it down. Don't fill the place with what benefits, because it will cause confusion. No proof or credibility. We need to be able to see it in action. Talking about features instead of what benefits. You have to realize that you could have the best product that does marvelously, but if it's not beneficial to the user, of what he won't invest in it. All right, so you have to concentrate on the benefits. Professional rules for advert scripts. One message. So one advert, one main message. Never dilute. Okay? Never dilute. Okay? Now, sell benefits. Sell benefits, not features. What does the audience gain? Exactly, that's what do they gain? Okay? That's the core of persuasion. Like I said, even if you're not going to write advert scripts or skits, learning how to persuade people in your everyday life might help even in your business. Okay, if you're negotiating a deal, what is in it for the other? If you make it clear enough, it's most likely you might sell. So hook fast. Grab attention in the first 1 to 3 seconds or lose them. Okay, it's that bad. Okay, so you need to ensure you grab attention in the first 1 to 3 seconds, like 1, 2, 3, and they are gone. So it's quite but it's the rules for advert scripts. End strong. Make the call to action obvious. Respect the audience intelligence. Okay, you have to expect that your audience will know what to do when you tell them. Don't over explain. Okay, so that you don't overcomplicate things. Keep it simple. The audience are intelligent enough. Okay, that's why I took Milo this morning. I'm intelligent enough to know that I need to buy Milo. I don't know whether it's Nestle that sold me the idea, but I think I like Milo. All right. Okay, so templates. Let's look at template A, 15 seconds social video. This is for social media direct response. These are like templates. We have a couple of them that we'll go through. For social video that lasts for like 15 seconds, you have the hook. So you could say stop scrolling if you want. Now that's a result, right? That's the result, the benefit the person is supposed to get. So stop scrolling if you want, and then you go straight to the problem. Most people struggle with Okay, what's the pain? Okay, that's related to the benefit you're offering. Okay, and then solution with product so and so you get benefit one plus benefit two. Okay, so that's the sequence, and then the proof or the call to action trusted by Microsoft. Okay, all right. So that's, you're building credibility, trusted by millions all over the world. Okay, that's digital dreams for you. Okay, it's trusted by millions all over the world. Okay, now click the link. All right, to start now. That's the clear call to what? Action. All right, so you have to have the hook, the problem, solution, and then proof plus what? Call to action. That's a 15-second social video. Okay, let's look at the next template. A 30 seconds promo. You're selling a course or event. So your hook could be something like, if you want to learn AI and start earning with it. Yeah, man, I need to start earning, that's important, okay? We all need money, right? So if you want to learn AI and start what? Earning with it, that's your hook, all right? People need money, they want to start earning, okay? So this skill can get them earning, right? So the value in this training, you learn, then you give them the outcomes. Like I said, use the rule of threes. Don't give too many details, because the human mind, it can take like maybe a maximum of 4 things at once, but usually threes is enough. Okay, so that's the value. Then trust, led by credibility. You're building credibility. Practical projects. Who's teaching this? Okay, maybe he's Microsoft certified. Okay, he's worked in NASA in the USA and all that, or maybe he's worked in the Federal Ministry of Health, or he's a doctor with WHO and all that. So you're building what? Credibility. Practical what? Projects. Okay, what have been what? Achieved. All right. So that's a because the people who want to take this course, they want to know who's teaching this and what have they achieved prior to now. And then you have urgency and call to action. You have to make it, you have to make them feel it's an honor to, take this course. Like limited seats available, it's starting, now you put the date. So with that, you can inculcate urgency, because now they have a timeline or a deadline to meet, and then there's equally the competition to get what? A seat. Now, you give them your call to action, register now, link in bio. So that's like a 30 seconds what? Promo. You have your hook, your value, what you're offering, and then trust, competence, urgency. Hey, you got to do it now and now. So let's look at the third template, 60-second story. This is equally an ad, a story ad. Scene one, you have a relatable moment. Open with a situation the audience immediately recognizes from their own life. Okay, maybe a mother with a baby or something. Of course, the family setting is always everybody. The people are always drawn to it. Okay, then scene two, pain escalates. All right, the frustration or problem grows. The audience feels what? The stakes as it grows. All right. Now, the scene three, where your solution and results, your product or service appears and delivers a clear transformation. So the mother panicking over her baby, and then the temperature is going high, and she's almost losing it. And then, okay, our drug appears, all right. And then the next time, okay, the baby is what? Smiling, the next second, the baby is what? Is smiling. So you have the solution and the result, and then proof plus what? Strong call to what? Action. So you have the testimonial or numbers, or then followed by a clear, urgent call to what? Action. All right. Okay, let's look at some examples of these ads. Okay, ad scripts. So, 15-second promo. Um, this is we want to sell our script writing class. Okay, so the first the hook might be something like want to write skits, films, and ads that people actually watch. Exactly, that's what I want. All right. Okay, just hold on then. In fundamentals of script writing, you will learn structure, conflict, dialogue, and how to turn an idea into a treatment and script. Exactly what I'm working on now. Okay, then let's go on. Practical exercises will deal with real life examples, clear what, templates. Wow, you have to get your hands on. Now you have the call to action. Join today, click the link and tap notify me. Okay, so that's an example of a script, a promo ad for a script writing class. Start with the hook, the value, proposition, the proof. This is something we've done over and over, and then we have the practical exercises, real examples, clear templates that will get you okay moving. Then you know what to do. Just click the notify me button, all right, and get you um, we'll get you writing scripts that sell. Okay, example 2, 30 seconds brand plus offer ad. Okay, brand plus offer ad. This is like for 30 seconds. So we have a bit more time to play. Most people have great story ideas, but they can't turn them into what? Scripts. That's why we created fundamentals of what? Script writing. A step-by-step class that teaches you story structure, character, conflict, suspense, and the full process from logline to treatment to what? Draft. You practice with real assignments and get clear writing blueprint you can reuse for skits, adverts, and films. Ready to start? Join the live session today. So this 30-second ad uses the AIDA model. It opens with a relatable problem. The attention, we need to grab the attention. So you have great story ideas. Yes, it appeals to your emotions, and then your struggles, you can't turn them into script. So the problem, the attention, introduces the cost, interest, least benefits. That's your desire to build desire, and closes with a clear call to what? Action. So this is another example of an ad script. The third example, this 60 seconds. And we're using the past style ad. So problem, agitate, then you offer the solution. Ever written a skit and it felt flat? No punchline, no tension, no structure? That's not lack of talent. That's lack of a system. So we get to the solution quickly. In fundamentals of script writing, you will learn hook, conflict, escalation, payoff, and how to plan using log lines, treatments, and drafts. Write scenes, get templates, craft scripts for skits, adverts, and short films. If you want your ideas to stop dying in your notes app, join the session today. Click notify me and show up live. All right. So this is for like a 60 seconds ad for the same script writing class. So we use the problem agitate solution. We highlighted the problem. Your skits are falling flat, and then you don't know what to do. And then we offer you the solution. Okay. So what makes an advert script work? What makes it work? All right. What makes it work? So we start with the hook. So stop the scroll, grab attention in the first 1 to 3 seconds. We seem to be repeating ourselves, but we're actually trying to emphasize these concepts, because you have to hear them over and over again, okay, till they become a part of your working profile, okay, if I should use the word. All right. So what makes an advert script work? First of all, the hook. Your target is to ensure this guy doesn't scroll away from your content. You have 1 to 3 seconds to do that. Problem or desire. Why should I care? Make the audience feel seen. Okay, you have to make them feel what? Seen. They have to relate with the problem you're highlighting. It has to be their problem. Okay, you're not there to solve your problem, you're there to solve their problem. Okay, so it has to be something they can relate with. Solution plus key benefit. What you offer and what they gain, clearly stated. And then you have the proof or trust. Why believe you? Why should we believe you? You should have evidence, right? Numbers. Millions of people are on this. Okay, millions of people are on Living School and they are using it. You have testimonials. In fact, it's making their work easier. It's making their it's impacting their bottom line and so on and so forth. So and you could show demonstrations of what you are selling. Okay, call to action. What to do now? Of course, it has to be clear. Are we registering? Are we clicking? Where do I click? Okay, we are calling, or do you need to DM? Make it stupidly clear. They call it idiot proof in design, in product design. It has to be what? Idiot proof. And you can incorporate it into advert script too. Even an idiot must be able to subscribe, click, okay, and take your, implement your call to action. That's what makes it a great work or script. All right. So these are the things that make an advert script work: hook, problem or desire, solution plus key benefit, proof and trust, and then call to action. Your best workflow for any script. Okay. Write 10 hooks. Pick the strongest one. Okay, write what? 10 hooks. Okay, pick the strongest one. Now, you choose one framework. Which framework are you going to use? Depending on what you want to achieve, what you want, assuming you're selling maybe a device, you have to use the FAB method, all right? So where you highlight the features, advantages, and all that. So you choose your framework, and then you draft a 30 seconds version first. Then cut it to 15 seconds. And then expand it to 60 seconds. All right? So you draft a 30 seconds version first. Then you cut it down. And then you now expand it. Okay, the reason why you cut it down is to focus it, right? And then when you focus it, then you can now flesh it out based on your focused view. All right. So now read it aloud. Some things when you write them, they just stay there, but when you read it aloud, you're almost like it just doesn't sound good enough. Okay, because that's how the other people will hear it as well. So you remove slow lines, make call to action stupidly clear. Okay, now what are the key takeaways? For skits, you need one premise, one game, escalate in beats, end sharply, hook in 10 seconds, or lose the audience. Now for adverts, you need one message, sell benefits, hook fast, prove it, make the call to action obvious and easy to act on. For both of them, you need you need economy of dialogue. No gratuitous dialogue, things that are not necessary. Just cut them off. All right. Visual storytelling, platform aware writing. You have to know the platform you're writing for and adapt it to suit that platform. Now, start from real life, then twist, heighten, or what? Persuade. Like they say, the extraordinary is simply the ordinary to which you've added an extra. Usually we always want to get the extraordinary, right? But that's not how it works. You start from the ordinary and then you work on the ordinary, twist it, heighten it, persuade it, and or just so that you can be able to persuade, right? So by the time you work on the ordinary, it takes on that extra tint, right? Which is the effort you're putting in. That's what makes it extraordinary after all. Okay, so you don't wait till you write something extraordinary. You write from real life, ordinary situation, then you work on it. The best scripts are not written. I like this. They are what? Rewritten. Let me say it again. The best scripts are not written. They are rewritten. Okay, I know this from experience. The first time you write something, it may be good, but then you look at it, you leave it for a while, look at it again, touch it, tweak it here, tinker with it, and you might end up, at the end of the day, what you end up with, okay, might be far-fetched from what you started with, but you see that you got something quite unique. So read it aloud, cut ruthlessly. Don't be shy, when it comes to cutting and editing. Just cut your, I know it can be painful as a writer. You get your, you write something and somebody just says, you need to cut off this, cut off that. It's quite painful, but that's part of it. All right. In fact, like they say, from the first draft to maybe the shooting draft, about 90% of what was in the first draft don't make it. So you shouldn't be shy to cut. I like the word ruthlessly. Okay. Now, shoot confidently. Okay. So that's these are the key takeaways from today's class. So we've gotten to the end of the class, and we can take questions now. We can take questions. Huh? Oh, you guys are supposed to clap now. Isn't that how it's done? Huh? I can't hear you. If you enjoy the class, give me a clap, man. On YouTube, on WhatsApp. If you had a nice time, okay, I'll give me a clap. And then it's questions time. Okay, so ask your questions in the chat section. Yeah, the comment section. Okay, keep the questions rolling in. Thank you for the claps. Okay, what do you guys need? So how? So who is this person? Mark what? Okay, Matala Yusuf wants to know how character is one of the most elements in script writing. How is it one of the most important elements in script writing? Well, character, like they say, um, it's not about what is happening, it's about who it is happening to. Okay, so that's why you have to establish the character, because without a character, your story will fall flat. Okay, if you can't identify with this person is happening to, okay, you can't identify with the story, whether it's a skit or what, or an advert. Okay, because the character is not just an individual. The character represents a concept, a universal human concept that affects everybody. Okay, so that's why the character is important, because uh, by identifying with the character, you identify with the story. Okay, and that's the way you can even get up to maybe call to action or respond to the skit. Okay. All right. So uh, the I'm still going through the questions. Um, Someone asked about PAS. Okay, that I should talk more about that. Okay, where you have the problem, you agitate it, and then you provide what, a solution. All right. So what it's about is you move from problem. There's a problem, you agitate it, you flesh it out, because sometimes someone might even have a problem they cannot what um, express or even understand. Now, by highlighting it, the agitating is to highlight the problem. Okay, you make it clear, you kind of provide them with what? Clarity. Okay, like the skit writing we mentioned, the script writing we mentioned, that it's not just about you not being able to write, it's about a system. You don't know the system of writing what scripts. Okay, and then we now provide the solution through our script writing class. So that's how the PAS works. So you have the problem, your script is falling flat, and then you don't even know why it's doing that. We agitate it by highlighting the problem, that it's about system, it's about structure, understanding the underlying principles of script writing. Once you now you're clarified, you can now see, oh, we now offer you our script writing class where you get to know these principles, and then your problem is solved. So that's what the PAS is all about. Okay. What? Okay, please, is there a question? Okay. So someone says, please, are we to write the quiz also the assignment? Are we to write the quiz or only the assignment? See, you have to write, if there's a quiz, if there's an assignment, it's there for you to write it. You don't, if it's there, it's for you to write it. And we believe it will help you hone your craft. That's what it's about. Okay. So yes, you write the quizzes, you write the assignments. Okay. Someone unable to access the quizzes again. Okay. Uh, you should check back in about 30 minutes. Our engineers are working on it. It'll be up in about 30 minutes. Someone says they can't submit their assignment. So just check back in 30 minutes. Our engineers on it. Any other question or okay. Yes. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, so someone says, must the assignment be done in PDF? Well, you can do it in MS Word and then export it as PDF. Okay. Please limit the questions to the class we just had. Okay. Just limit your questions to the class, to what we learned about skit writing, about adverts, okay? Skit scripts and advert scripts. Just limit your questions to these two topics, okay? So that we can at least have a closure, because if we just ask questions indiscriminately, we may not have a closure today. So let's so that we'll focus on what we have at hand and make the most of it. So keep the questions rolling in. Okay. In the absence of any questions, all right, I guess we'll call it an evening. All right. Okay. And I hope to see you some other time. Thank you very much for being there. And I hope you had a great time. See you next time.